Now the combined second and third lecture of the Rajyoga meditation basic course. Second, the Supreme Soul. The term Supreme Soul, of course, means the Creator God Father. Much abuse has been made of the term God. So I prefer Supreme Soul. God is not an old man with a beard, but an eternally immaculate, radiant point of light on the right side. It may come as a surprise that the Supreme Soul is a light point soul like you and me. The most essential difference to the human soul is that God never takes a body of his own, therefore never becomes dependent on matter, therefore never loses energy and thus always retains the highest virtues such as peace, love, wisdom, power, and so on. God, with the exception of the new creation of human consciousness, never takes part in the usual human activity here on earth. God's spectrum, by the way, is so great that all human souls can recognize themselves in him. Although God doesn't take part in the usual earth game, he is still part of the system as a regenerating, balancing principle. He also never intervenes directly in the material creation. The usual presentation of the 7-day creation is a myth. Instead of doing hocus pocus vidibus, rather, he regenerates human souls through meditation and yoga, means connection, mental, emotional connection. He regenerates human souls, and the regenerated human souls regenerate the physical creation as a link between the highest spirit, that is God, and matter. It is in this context that the biblical phrase, let the earth be subject to man, let the earth be subject to man, is to be understood and not in the sense of exploitation. It is in this context that the biblical phrase, let the earth be subject of man, is to be understood and not in the sense of exploitation. After all the global problems, including conflicts and environmental problems, are the consequences of our degenerated human consciousness. By implication, therefore, the renewal of human consciousness comes first, and subject earth follows the renewed human consciousness. In the overview of the first part, I have explained this also. Once more, by implication, therefore, the renewal of human consciousness comes first, and subject earth follows the renewed human consciousness. God's children play on the earth stage until they themselves and the physical creation have reached a critical point of suffering and destruction. Then God intervenes in a corrective way, but not in the sense of hocus pocus, but he teaches us humans who we originally are and how we function as souls in the dual world. He teaches us clear transformational knowledge. He teaches us clear transformational knowledge, and he gives us the power to implement this knowledge into real life. It is a purification process. Alloys have mixed into the original pure golden souls. In the yoga fire, described later, the pure gold is brought out again. Immaculate soul, pure gold, brings victory, the picture on the right, vow, victory, victory, picture on the right. The degree of our clarification determines our future happiness. The degree of our clarification determines our future happiness. Since the highest soul has no body of its own, it borrows a body in order to be able to express itself unequivocally. I don't know, that is expressed right in the right way. Unequivocally. It is the body of the second highest soul who had the worldly name Dadalakach. After taking on the new task, he was named Brahma by God in accordance with the principle of creation. Brahma is the principle of creation in India, from which this knowledge is coming from where this knowledge is coming from. So I'm explaining the third chapter, Brahma, God's main instrument. Dadalakach was a very religious and rich diamond trader. After his experience with God in 1936 and the realization of his future task concerning the creation of a new world, he gave up his trading business. Not only the mission from God, but also the realization of his future tasks brought him to complete surrender. Here, the picture on the right shows him as the trader. Throughout his life, he was a Krishna worshipper, in the opinion that Krishna was God. When he learned from God that Krishna was not God, but the first prince of the new age, and that he himself would soon occupy this position, he enthusiastically surrendered to God's work of creation along with his considerable wealth. Some words are difficult to express for me because I don't use them very seldom. So, as he realized which work he has to do and what's the goal for him, then it was a deep realization, no doubt about it anymore. He could immediately surrender to God. Excerpt. Krishna is the first deity, not God. First means Adi. That is Adam, the first man. He is also known as Adam in other mythologies and cultures. The creation of Adam was the theme of Michelangelo's creation story in the Sistine Chapel. Everybody knows this picture. God touches Adam's finger and thus breathes the soul into him. Obviously, Michelangelo painted these pictures according to the beliefs of that time and also today. It goes without saying that the eternal soul does not have to be created. No soul has to be created because all souls are eternal. The creation means to regenerate. Settled in 1936 in the Sindh region, in the Sindh region of present-day Pakistan, many people were drawn to him by vision. This caused his radiance in combination with God. That God was the second soul which was going inside to him and began to explain the whole knowledge. The knowledge was only gradually understood later. In any case, the group grew rapidly. This was not only positively received in the environment of the followers, because Brahma not only put the women who were badly treated in India in front, on top of that, he ignored the caste system, which is still observed in India today. Hostilities were the result. However, he did not allow himself to be disturbed and then withdraw with a group of women into a meditation lasting many years, during which they accumulated a lot of strength with God's help and were thus able to withstand all opposition. He made the footsteps, the first footsteps, where all followers had to follow. Only after the partition of India did they move to Mount Abu in Rajasthan, today's India, where the organization headquarters are still located today. From there, the Rajyoga schools are run worldwide. The organization is predominantly women, and women run it. That is why it is called Brahma Kumaris, means Brahma's daughters. The pictures show a few buildings. On the left, a large hall in Abu, also called Shantivan. On the right, the Gyan Sarovar complex up to the mountain. There is also the Global Hospital and the Pandav Bhavan in Mount Abu, and also in big cities, there are also big centers like in Delhi, Mumbai, and so on. And in the meantime, since the 70s, worldwide are existing centers of Brahma Kumaris. God came daily into Brahma's body. He spoke spiritual knowledge and gave the disciples the power to implement the knowledge. Brahma was the practical example. His exemplary behavior corresponded to the footsteps that the disciples could follow. Despite being in close contact with God, Brahma had to be the first person to go through the transformation process. Brahma too, it is said, to have made mistakes in the beginning, but only once a time. Through his own practical process, he became not only a role model, but also an experienced teacher who could show the disciples how the transformation worked in practice. God himself there was for him is no need to regenerate. He is always in this stage, but Brahma had to do this process. On 18th January, it was yesterday, 1969, Brahma had attained his complete being. All karmic bonds were released. In Christian terms, one would say that all sins had been redeemed. He thus left the physical body fully liberated and willingly. Now he was becoming an angel. Nevertheless, his task was not completed. His work in connection with God now began in the subtle light body, in the so-called subtle world, a world of creation between the soul world and the physical world. From then on, together with God as a soul and equipped with a light body, he entered from time to time a chosen female instrument called Dadigulsar. Through this woman, both the Supreme Soul and Brahma now spoke in combined form. In the picture below, they are speaking lovingly to Daddy Chanki, one of the earthly leaders of the organization. But 2 years ago, she also left her body. It is now in another situation. It looks like a real personal meeting. And of course, God gave them always advice to lead the organization. Now there is a challenge. On the left of the picture, we see Brahma as a symbol of the principle of creation. The Brahma is the principle of creation. The next symbol of the Indian Trinity doctrine, we see in the middle the form of the four-armed Vishnu as the principle of preservation. Of course, there exists no human being with 4 arms. These are symbols. 2 arms symbolize the female principle and 2 arms the male principle in one person. In his upper right hand, he holds the sacred swastika. This is a holy symbol in India. It symbolizes spinning the discus of self-realization. The scepter in the right hand below symbolizes royal sovereignty, self-sovereignty. Also an essential goal of Raja Yoga, because before you can lead as a sovereign other people, you must be self-sovereign. This exists not anymore today. You can see at the politicals, also at the kings. In his left hand below, Vishnu holds a lotus flower as a symbol of purity, flawlessness. Purity is a basic element of transformation. And in his left hand above, he holds a conch shell. It symbolizes the spreading of the knowledge of creation and transformation for the benefit of humanity. Each bead on the costume symbolizes a divine virtue here. The naked feature of Shankar shows the principle of transformation. His nakedness, like the naked representation of Adam and Eve, represents the pure. Naked means Naked means bodiless, soul consciousness. Bodiless soul consciousness. And so also Adam and Eve are also shown in the paradise naked, means they were soul conscious. They had a body, of course, but they identified themselves with the soul. I am the soul, but you had not to think always about like today. It was coming, it was automatically in the presence. So this is now the finish of the third chapter. And soon I will start the fourth chapter. Thank you so much for your attention. And now we'll start with a small meditation again. The sunshine has gone, but we'll make the sunshine inside. First, I go into silence. I am a spiritual being. My body is my instrument. I am not the body. I am the soul. I am an energy spreading, radiating soul. In the middle of the forehead. Combined with God. I will explain this later. We are combined with source of energy, with a source of power. Like an empty battery, we can regenerate us. And then more and more, our original inner qualities are coming up from the subconsciousness. He is working the principle of resonance. God always vibrates in the highest level, and through our connection more and more, we come closer to the same or to a similar vibration. It's a very simple way, because easy to understand, easy to practice in our real life. I also meditate with open eyes during walking in the morning, during cycling, during cooking, and whenever I don't need a sharp intellect, I can be in my mind, in my emotional, in my feelings, I can be connected with the Supreme. Peace is coming. Joy is coming. Happiness is coming. And sometimes super senses joy. At least we will have always super senses joy, whatever we do. Freedom, wisdom, power, different powers. You heard it in the first lesson. They are coming up from the subconscious more and more. They are covered from old, not very helpful attitudes, beliefs, and more the original qualities became purified. I like this very much because through meditation and the connection with the highest, I come very easily in the described old qualities, the original qualities of peace, love, and so on. Altruistic love. And the more I experience my abundance, the more I can be detached from outside influences. Of course, I can communicate with each other, but not absorb the negative energies of others. To be independent from negative energies of others. The whole world is in the dark consciousness. And more to become independent, to become self-sovereign, is more and more necessary. Otherwise, we would come under the influence of these negative energies. How we lose the energy, we will later learn in another lecture. Now I finished this second and third lecture.